Casualty was seriously intense tonight. Fuming, Jan had Iain arrested after he attacked her son. Pic. BBC. Last week's Casualty saw Iain Dean, Michael Stevenson, beat up Ross West, Chris Gordon, after finding him next to a dead Bass Newman, Max Parker. Bass died from an overdose and Iain was fuming, accusing Ross of giving him the drugs that killed him. Tonight, a badly beaten Ross was taken to hospital when his mum Jan Jennings arrived at the scene. She questioned her son about what had happened, explaining that police would be involved due to the death. Related articles. I'm sorry to tell you this, but your son is a drug dealer. Iain Dean. He mentioned Iain, saying he kept going round, pestering Bass. He said he was getting more and more angry, more of a state each time. I don't know what his deal is, but Bass rang me earlier, said to come over. I think he was scared of him. By the time I got there, about 6:30, he was already there and he wasn't happy to see me. Jan was gobsmacked to discover Iain was behind her son's attack and turned to him for answers. Iain tried to make out he was innocent in the situation, returning to his accusation that Ross supplied the drugs. Bursting into the ward, Iain fumed. I'm sorry to tell you this, but your son is a drug dealer who gave an overdose to Bass. Instead of calling an ambulance, he sat there and watched him die. Worry. Ross ended up in hospital and overdosed too. Pic. BBC. After watching him get more irate, Jan raged. These past few months have been a shocker. One of your colleagues died, you assaulted another one, you've had 2 RTCs, now you've assaulted my son. On the basis of what? Gut feeling? When I first arrived here, I thought you were a decent paramedic, but guess what? This is another case where your bad judgment has got people hurt. Jan refused to believe her son was dealing heroin and had Iain arrested, while Charlie Fairhead, Derek Thompson, defended him. Iain was questioned and told he faced a prison stint if found guilty, as Ross had no police record. But things went from bad to worse when Ross collapsed while talking to his mum from his hospital bed. Related articles taken in. Iain was questioned but later released on bail. Pic. BBC. Bad guy. Jan discovered Ross was in fact a drug dealer. Pic. BBC. Ross was treated for an overdose too, which left Jan shaken after not realizing her son was an addict. Charlie showed her an X-ray of his abdomen which showed a stash of drugs inside his body, telling her he didn't think Ross was an addict. She spoke to her son and made it clear that it was his fault that Bass had died, turning her back on him and walking out. Soon after, police informed Iain that new evidence, the drugs in Ross, had come to light, therefore meaning he was released on bail. Jan told Iain she'd never forgive Ross for what he'd done. And suddenly their feud was over, like nothing had happened. Casualty continues next Saturday night on BBC One. Related article.